What if I told you the only person standing between you and unstoppable success is the one you see in the mirror every morning? Not your boss, not your family, not society. Just you. The truth is simple, but powerful. When you learn to focus on yourself, on your growth, on your discipline, you become unstoppable. Welcome to Wisdom in Minutes audiobooks, and today we dive into the power of relentless self-focus in unstoppable success. Focus on yourself until you win. Success is not an accident. It's a decision. It's not handed to you. It's built by you. Every champion, every leader, every game changer in history had one thing in common. They mastered themselves before they mastered the world. Think about it. When you stop comparing yourself to others, when you stop waiting for permission, when you stop living for likes and validation, you finally unlock the real source of power, you. Because the moment you focus inward, you sharpen your skills, you strengthen your mind, and you silence the noise of doubt. But focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead if you are lost. You cannot inspire if you are drained. Your responsibility is to rise, to grow, to win, and only then can you lift others with you. Every setback you face, every failure you encounter is not the end. It's feedback. It's a teacher in disguise. But only if you choose to listen, only if you choose to learn. Success is not about speed, it's about direction. It doesn't matter how fast you're moving. If you're moving towards your purpose, you are winning. So ask yourself, are you focused on distractions or are you focused on destiny? Because your energy flows where your attention goes. And when your focus is laser sharp on your own growth, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. What if I told you that the single most important battlefield you will ever face isn't in your workplace, isn't in the marketplace, and isn't even in the eyes of society? It is in your own mind. Think about that for a moment. Every decision you make, every dream you chase, every fear you fight, it all begins inside you. Success begins within. It does not start with money. It does not start with recognition. It does not even start with opportunity. It starts with who you decide to be when nobody is watching. Here is the reality most people don't want to hear. The world does not give you what you ask for. It gives you who you are. If you are weak on the inside, if you are filled with doubt, fear, and hesitation, no amount of luck or opportunity will ever last. But if you are strong on the inside, if your mind is prepared, disciplined, and clear on its vision, then even when the world tries to push you down, you will rise again and again, because no external force can defeat someone who has mastered their internal world. Ask yourself this: how many battles have you already lost in your head before you even stepped into the arena? How many times did you tell yourself, "I can't do it," before you even tried? How many times did you quit before life had the chance to test you? This is why the war inside is the only war that matters. The moment you change your inner dialogue, the moment you take control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your self-belief, everything on the outside begins to shift. Look at history. Every great leader, every champion, every innovator was once just a human like you. They were not born with superpowers. They were not handed success on a silver platter. What separated them from the rest was their ability to conquer themselves first. They mastered their fears, their doubts, their insecurities, and only then did they master the world. When Nelson Mandela walked out of prison after 27 years, he did not walk out broken. he walked out stronger because he had already won the war within his own spirit. Success is not about fighting others. It is about fighting the weaker version of yourself, the version that wants comfort over challenge, the version that prefers excuses over effort, the version that dreams but never acts. That version lives inside all of us. But here's the good news, so does the stronger version, the disciplined version, the courageous version, the version that refuses to quit no matter how heavy the weight feels. And the question is, who will you feed? Every morning, you are given a choice. Will you listen to the voice that says, "Stay in bed, you deserve to rest"? Or will you rise with the voice that says, "Get up, you have work to do, and your future is waiting"? Will you choose the comfort of the present or the greatness of the future? Because you cannot have both. Comfort is the enemy of progress. And if you want unstoppable success, you must first win the private battles no one else sees. People talk about winning championships, building businesses, creating wealth, and making an impact. But the truth is, you cannot do any of that until you win yourself. Until you learn to sit alone with your thoughts and shape them. Until you can quiet the noise of fear and doubt and choose to act anyway. Until you can look at the version of you in the mirror who says, "You're not enough," and answer back with, "Watch me." That is where success begins. Let me give you a hook that should stay in your heart. The strongest prison you will ever face is the prison of your own mind. Most people live in it their whole lives, never realizing they hold the key. The key is self-mastery. The key is inner strength. The key is focus. And when you unlock that prison, when you free yourself from the chains of insecurity, procrastination, and fear, the entire world opens before you. So here's the truth you must carry. Success is not about what you do once in a while. It's about who you are every single day when nobody is clapping for you, when nobody is cheering, when nobody even notices. The small battles of discipline, the silent choices of courage, the lonely hours of practice. Those are the seeds of unstoppable success. The world may not see them now, but when the harvest comes, everyone will wonder how you rose so high so fast. The answer will be simple. You won the battle within. People love motivation. They chase it in videos, in quotes, in music, in speeches. Motivation feels good. It makes you want to jump up, take action, and believe that anything is possible. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit: motivation is temporary. Motivation is a spark, and sparks burn out. If you rely only on motivation, you will never build the life you want. Because when the spark dies, so does your drive. That is why discipline beats motivation every single time. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after motivation fades. Think about this. How many times have you felt fired up after hearing an inspiring speech, only to wake up the next morning with no energy to act? How many times have you promised yourself, "This time I'll change, this time I'll stick with it," only to stop after a few days? It wasn't because you lacked motivation. You had plenty of it. You stopped because you lacked discipline. And without discipline, motivation is useless. Motivation will get you started, but only discipline will keep you going when things get hard. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is waking up early when the bed feels warm and the world is still asleep. Discipline is choosing the healthy meal when your cravings scream for junk. Discipline is putting in the extra hour of work when nobody is watching, nobody is clapping, and nobody cares. Discipline doesn't ask you how you feel. It asks you, did you show up today or not? Here's a powerful hook you must remember. Success does not care about your feelings. Success only cares about your actions. Too many people let their feelings control their future. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they feel motivated. And that's why they keep waiting forever. Winners don't wait to feel like it. Winners act first and feelings catch up later. Discipline is not glamorous. Discipline is boring. It is repetitive. It is unsexy. It is doing the same thing again and again until you become unstoppable at it. And because it's boring, most people quit. But that's exactly why discipline creates champions. The ones who push through the boredom, who show up on the days when nothing exciting is happening, are the ones who separate themselves from the crowd. The crowd wants quick results. The crowd wants constant motivation. The crowd wants shortcuts. The disciplined ones, they want mastery. They want greatness. They want legacy. Look at athletes. The difference between the good and the great is not talent, it's discipline. Talent gets you started. Discipline keeps you in the game. A talented athlete without discipline wastes potential. A disciplined athlete without talent still rises because consistency compounds. Every day you show up, every day you stay consistent, you stack bricks. And one day, you look up and realize you've built a fortress. Most people think discipline means sacrifice, but in reality, discipline is freedom. Discipline frees you from regret, from wasted time, from a life of what if. Discipline gives you control over your future. Without discipline, you are a slave to your impulses. With discipline, you become the master of your destiny. Think about it, which life would you rather live? One controlled by fleeting emotions, or one driven by deliberate choices? There will be days when you feel tired, days when you feel empty, days when you feel like nothing is working. That is when discipline matters most. Discipline is not tested when things are easy. It's tested when things are painful. And those who push through the pain, those who show up anyway, those who refuse to quit when every cell in their body screams to stop, those are the ones who win. Motivation will knock on your door occasionally. Discipline will live with you every day if you choose it. Motivation whispers, do it when you feel good. Discipline demands, do it whether you feel good or not. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is permanent. Motivation inspires. Discipline transforms. So the question is not, how do I stay motivated? The real question is, will I stay disciplined when motivation disappears? Because it will. And when it does, the ones who keep going, who keep grinding, who keep showing up even when the world is silent, those are the ones who rise to the top. Here's the hook I want you to carry. Motivation may start the race, but discipline finishes it. Motivation is a guest. Discipline is family. Motivation might light the match, but discipline builds the fire that keeps burning long after the spark is gone. If you want unstoppable success, stop chasing motivation. Build discipline. What if I told you that failure is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher? What if I told you that the very thing you're running from, the mistakes, the setbacks, the rejections, is actually the raw material of your success? Most people fear failure as if it's the end of the road, but in truth, failure is not the end. It's the beginning. Every failure carries a hidden message, a coded lesson that only the brave are willing to decode. And those who learn to see failure differently, those who embrace it instead of avoiding it, are the ones who rise higher than they ever imagined. The reason so many people stay stuck is simple: they misinterpret failure. They think failure means they are not good enough. They think it means their dream is impossible. They think it means they should quit. But failure does not mean stop. It means adjust. It means learn. It means grow. Failure is feedback, nothing more, nothing less. And when you treat it as feedback, instead of final judgment, you discover that every setback is setting you up for a comeback. Think about the stories we admire most. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb on the first try. He failed thousands of times. When asked about it, he didn't say, "I failed." He said, "I found thousands of ways that didn't work." That's the mindset of champions. They don't fear failure, they respect it. They don't hide from it, they use it. Every misstep, every mistake, every wrong turn becomes part of their foundation. Here's a powerful hook to hold in your mind: failure is not a period, it's a comma. It does not end your story. It simply pauses it until you decide to continue. Too many people put a period where there should only be a comma. They experience one loss, one rejection, one failed attempt, and they walk away. But winners know that failure is just part of the sentence, part of the process, part of the journey. When you look at your failures with shame, they weigh you down. But when you look at them with wisdom, they lift you higher. Imagine this: every time you fall, the ground is not there to break you. It is there to teach you how to rise stronger. Failure shows you what doesn't work, which means it secretly guides you closer to what will. Without failure, you are blind. With failure, you can finally see. But here's the catch: failure only teaches the willing. Some people experience failure and let it harden their hearts. They get bitter, they get angry, they give up. But others experience failure and let it sharpen their vision. They get better, not bitter. They become wiser, not weaker. The same fire that burns some people down is the same fire that forges others into steel. The question is, what will you do with your fire? Every failure you face is a test, not of your talent, but of your resilience. Life is asking you, how badly do you want it? Will you keep going when the world says stop? Will you rise after you fall? Because success is not given to the most talented. It is given to the most persistent. The ones who fall 10 times and stand up 11. The ones who hear no 100 times but still believe in their yays. The ones who refuse to let failure define them because they know it is only refining them. The truth is, the path to success is paved with failure. If you are afraid to fail, you are afraid to succeed, because failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. No one ever reached greatness without first stumbling, struggling, and suffering through moments that tested everything inside them. Failure is not something you avoid. It is something you endure, something you embrace, something you turn into fuel. So the next time you fail, remember this: failure is not proof that you can't succeed. Failure is proof that you are trying, proof that you are moving, proof that you are in the arena while others are still sitting in the stands. And as long as you are in the arena, you are learning, you are growing, and you are getting closer to the victory that belongs to you. Here's the hook you must carry in your heart. Every failure is simply a stepping stone, and each stone brings you closer to the other side. If you stop walking, you stay stuck. If you keep moving, no matter how many stones you trip over, Eventually you will cross the river. Failure doesn't block the path. Failure is the path. The world today is louder than it has ever been. Notifications buzzing, opinions flooding, comparisons flashing across your screen every second. Everywhere you look, the noise is pulling at your attention. And the tragedy is this: most people are not losing their dreams because they lack talent or because they lack opportunities, but because they are drowning in noise. Success requires focus, and focus requires silence. If you want to sharpen your vision, you must learn to quiet the chaos around you. Think about it. How many dreams have been killed not by failure, but by distraction? How many people once started with passion and vision, only to lose themselves in endless scrolling, endless comparisons, endless noise? Focus is a rare currency now, and those who can protect it, those who can channel it, those who can use it with precision, those are the ones who rise above the crowd. Here's a truth that should hit you hard. The more you listen to the noise of the world, the less you hear the voice inside you. That inner voice, the one that whispers your purpose, your calling, your vision, it gets drowned out when you let the noise dictate your direction. And that is why so many people feel lost. They're not lost because they lack a path. They're lost because they can no longer hear their own compass. Silence the noise, sharpen the focus. When you learn to unplug from distractions, when you learn to stop chasing validation, when you learn to detach from the constant need to be seen, you finally see yourself clearly. And in that clarity, your power multiplies, because focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. One clear strike is stronger than 100 scattered blows. Let me give you a hook to hold on to. Energy flows where attention goes. If your attention is scattered, your energy is wasted. If your attention is sharp, your energy is unstoppable. That is why the most successful people guard their focus like treasure. They don't let everyone's voice into their head. They don't consume every piece of noise the world throws at them. They filter. They protect. They choose carefully what enters their mind, because they know whatever they focus on will grow. Imagine an archer aiming at a target. If he is distracted by the crowd, if he looks at everyone around him, if he keeps turning his head every time someone shouts, his arrow will never hit the mark. But if he silences the noise, if he locks in on the target, if he shuts out everything else, his aim becomes deadly precise. That is focus, and your life works the same way. The danger of noise is not just that it distracts you. It convinces you to chase things that don't matter. It makes you measure your worth by likes and comments. It makes you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. It tricks you into running a race that was never yours to run. And the more you run in the wrong direction, the further you drift from the life you were meant to build. The silence you need is not just the absence of sound. It's the presence of clarity. Sometimes you need to step back, to log off, to walk away from the noise so you can ask yourself, what do I really want? Who am I becoming? Where am I going? And when you give yourself that silence, the answers will come. Your focus will sharpen. Your energy will align. Focus is a weapon, but only if you choose to wield it. Most people let the world hijack their attention. They give their time, their energy, their mental space to things that bring no return. But you are different. You can choose to guard your focus like a warrior. You can choose to silence the noise, not by force, but by decision. You decide what deserves your attention. You decide what gets your time. You decide who has access to your mind. That is the ultimate power. Here's the hook I want you to remember: distraction is the enemy of destiny. If you give in to the noise, you will never reach your purpose. But if you discipline your focus, if you learn to silence what doesn't matter and amplify what does, you become unstoppable. Because in a world addicted to noise, the one who controls their focus controls their future. From the moment we are born, the world trains us to compete with others. In school, we are measured against classmates. In sports, against opponents. In careers, against colleagues. Everywhere we turn, life seems like a scoreboard with winners and losers. But here is a truth most people never discover: the greatest competition is not out there. It is in here. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. The race of life is not against others, it is against your own limitations. What if you stopped comparing yourself to everyone else? What if you stopped measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel? What if you decided that your only standard of success is whether you are better than you were last week, last month, last year? That single shift would change everything, because comparison is a thief, but self-competition is a builder. Comparison drains your energy, self-competition multiplies it. Here's the hook to lock into your heart: the finish line is not in front of you, it's inside of you. Every day you wake up, you face two versions of yourself. The version that wants comfort, excuses, and the easy way, and the version that wants growth, discipline, and excellence. The real competition is between those two selves, and every choice you make is a vote for the person you will become. The truth is, you never really know the full story of anyone else's life. You see the cars, the houses, the titles, the applause. But you don't see the sacrifices, the scars, the struggles behind closed doors. So why waste your energy competing with shadows? When you compare yourself with others, you either feel inferior or superior. Both are traps. Inferiority steals your confidence. Superiority feeds your ego. Neither creates growth. But when you compete only with yourself, you grow without limits, because the game is endless. Imagine this: yesterday you ran 1 mile. Today you run 1.5. Yesterday you read 10 pages. Today you read 20. Yesterday you saved a little money. Today you saved more. Small wins, repeated daily, create unstoppable growth. And when you live like this, you stop chasing after what others are doing, because you realize your lane is unique. No one else has your race. No one else has your story. No one else has your finish line. Here's another hook: life is not about being the best. It's about being better than you were before. The best is an illusion. There will always be someone faster, smarter, richer, more talented. But that doesn't matter. Because the only real question is, are you improving? Are you leveling up? Are you evolving into a stronger version of yourself? That is the game worth playing. Think about the oak tree. It doesn't compete with the pine tree. The oak tree grows to its full height simply because that's its nature. And the pine tree does the same. Neither compares. Neither envies. Both simply grow. That is how you must live. Stop worrying about how tall someone else is growing, and instead focus on your own roots, your own branches, your own growth. Because when you do, you'll discover that you were never in competition with anyone at all. The secret to lasting motivation is measuring progress against yourself. Every time you see improvement, no matter how small, it fuels your fire. You might not be where you want to be yet, But if you are further than you were before, you are winning. That is why people who compete only with themselves are often calmer, more focused, and more fulfilled. They are not distracted by the noise of comparison. They are too busy upgrading themselves to worry about anyone else. And here is the paradox. When you stop competing with others and focus only on competing with yourself, you often end up surpassing the very people you used to envy, because your energy is no longer scattered. It is invested in your own growth. And growth compounds. A little progress every day turns into massive progress over years. Suddenly, you are standing where you once thought only others could stand. And you realize it was never about beating them. It was always about becoming you. So the challenge is simple. Tomorrow, wake up and ask yourself, how can I be 1% better than I was yesterday? One more rep, one more call, one more page, one more step. These small acts, repeated with discipline, will transform your life. Because the game of self-competition never ends, and that's the beauty of it. You are not chasing someone else's finish line. You are running your own endless race, and with each step forward, you become stronger, sharper, wiser, unstoppable. Here's the hook I want you to carry: compete only with yourself, because the person you were yesterday is the only rival that truly matters. Success is not built overnight, and it is never built by accident. It is built through relentless focus. The kind of focus that does not bend with distractions, does not break under pressure, and does not stop until the goal is achieved. Relentless focus is the difference between people who dream and people who achieve. It is the difference between the ones who almost made it and the ones who actually did. If you want unstoppable success, you must master the art of locking in so deeply on your vision that nothing can shake you from it. Think about a magnifying glass. When the sun shines across the earth, its light warms everything but burns nothing. But when you take that same light and focus it through a magnifying glass, it can ignite fire. The power of focus turns ordinary energy into extraordinary results. Your life is the same. Your mind is like sunlight. Scattered, it feels warm but does little. Focused, it becomes fire. Relentless focus is that magnifying glass, and when you hold it steady on your goals, you set your success ablaze. Here's the hook you must hold: distraction destroys more dreams than failure ever will. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they lose focus. They start strong, but the moment challenges appear or something shiny comes along, they drift. They give their attention to too many things, and their energy gets diluted. But the ones who win, they are not the most talented, not always the smartest. They are the most focused. Relentless focus means you are willing to say no. No to things that do not serve your vision. No to distractions disguised as opportunities. No to anything that pulls you away from your path. And this is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires clarity. It requires courage. Because the world will tempt you every single day to scatter your attention. But if you truly want success, you cannot afford to chase everything. You must commit to the few things that matter most and give them everything you have. Success demands obsession. Not a casual interest, not a half-hearted effort, but obsession. People may call you extreme, they may call you crazy, but history remembers the obsessed, not the distracted. The Wright brothers were obsessed with flight. Steve Jobs was obsessed with innovation. Serena Williams was obsessed with mastery. Obsession, fueled by relentless focus, creates results that casual effort never will. But focus is not just about hard work, it is about direction. You can run fast in the wrong direction and get nowhere. Relentless focus keeps your eyes on the prize, reminding you every day why you started. And when challenges come, and they will, it is focus that keeps you from quitting. Because when your vision is clear, your will becomes unbreakable. Here's another hook: when you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. Success requires trade-offs. You cannot do it all. You cannot please everyone. You cannot chase every opportunity. You must choose. And when you choose, you must commit fully. Partial focus creates partial results. Relentless focus creates unstoppable momentum. The beautiful thing about focus is that it compounds. One day of focus produces a result, but a year of relentless focus transforms your life. When you stay locked in, when you keep showing up, when you keep aligning your actions with your vision, small wins stack into big victories. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Relentless focus is also what builds resilience. Because when you are locked in on your vision, setbacks don't break you, they redirect you. Failures don't end you, they refine you. Distractions don't steal you, because you see them for what they are: noise. And when the world is noisy, when people doubt you, when circumstances challenge you, your focus keeps you steady, like a lighthouse in the storm. Here's the final hook I want you to take with you. Success does not belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most focused. Talent can open a door, but only relentless focus keeps it open. Intelligence can give you ideas, but only relentless focus turns them into reality. Desire can start the fire, but only relentless focus keeps it burning when the nights get long and the path gets hard. Relentless focus is the force that turns ordinary people into legends. And when you decide that nothing will steal your focus, nothing will stop your success, remember this: you are not in competition with anyone else. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Every day is a chance to upgrade your mind, your habits, your discipline. Focus on yourself until you win, and then keep going, because the journey never ends. This is your time. This is your chapter. This is your unstoppable success story. I'm your host from Wisdom in Minutes Audiobooks, reminding you: stay focused, stay disciplined, and never stop until you win.